Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Friday. You're listening to Engine Room on Token Metrics. My name's Dylan Love. Maybe you're watching us on YouTube as well. If you're just listening to us in your ears, that's cool. We're happy to have you. But we also really encourage you to check us out on YouTube. Do a little search for Token Metrics. Give this video a like and subscribe. And we're here to kind of go through this weird crypto world with you. And as we do every Friday on this podcast, it's a one-on-one conversation. Dylan Love and a Token Metrics employee. But you already know this Token Metrics employee because he's the co-host of this little podcast here. I want to say hello to Mr. Jacob Koch-Gallup, formerly a market analyst intern. Now, Jacob, what's your deal now? Tell everybody.
Yeah, now I'm working part-time here at Token Metrics. I'm a market research analyst, formerly a market analyst intern, but now I've been promoted, and here I am every Monday and Wednesday on the podcast, now on this episode on this lovely Friday.
So you're the star of the show today, and I'm just going to basically pick your brain about what it's like being a college student who's also working part-time for this company. What do your friends think about crypto and about your work? I guess let's start with kind of a big general question. How do you manage your time when it comes to school versus working for Token Metrics?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so first of all, I'm a senior at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. I'm studying philosophy and finance. And to answer your question, it's kind of a juggling act. So I go to class, I do my readings, I do my homework, I make sure I stay up to date, study for my tests. But when I'm not doing that, then I'm doing token metric stuff. So I'm getting up at 8 a.m. to film our Wednesday roundtable podcast, getting up at 10 a.m. before my classes on Mondays to do our Monday podcast. And then in the afternoons and evenings, I'm writing our weekly NFT roundup, which goes in our weekly newsletters, as well as the state of the market, which gets sent out also in the newsletters. I'm also doing research on new and exciting crypto projects. So it's anytime I have free time, I'm either studying for school or I'm doing token metrics work.
No rest for the weary, basically.
Exactly.
What do your friends think about your part-time job? Because it strikes me as something pretty different to be involved in as a senior in college. When I was a senior in college, people's part-time jobs were like working at the dining hall or working for the cadets, which was kind of an organization adjacent to the police, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, or working at the rec center, handing out towels.
Exactly. You're helping make the college a college, basically. You're working for a company.
Yeah, so I mean, it's super cool, and I think when I tell my friends, they're like, "Wow, that's amazing!" And then a few of my friends are actually also in the crypto space themselves. So then we can have great banter, we can have great discussions on the crypto space. One of my close friends is a huge Dogecoin proponent, and we've had a lot of discussions on my kind of feelings on shitcoins and his feelings on meme coins and how they're good for the crypto space. So there's a great back and forth there.
Have you found any overlaps between philosophy and crypto?
Yes, definitely. So when I research crypto projects, I obviously go through all their white papers, and the white papers are very similar to philosophy papers that I've written and that I read all the time. Because in a philosophy paper, which is very different to like your traditional English or persuasive papers, a philosophy paper, you lay everything out. So the first kind of page or first couple pages, the introduction, you're saying, in this paper, I will be talking about X, Y, and Z. You use the word I, you use first person in philosophy, which is a big no-no in other academic writings. And then you say, this is my argument, this is what I believe, and here's why. And you give evidence for it, and you wrap it all up. This is what I proved in this paper. Here's the evidence, etc. And that's very similar to crypto white papers, because they say, this is how our project's going to work. Here is the technology. Here's the functionality. Here is the problem that it addresses. Here are our competitors, and this is what we've shown through this white paper. So they're very similar, and it's super interesting, because that's not what I was expecting when I first started researching crypto projects, is that there'd be such an overlap with philosophical writings and then crypto writings.
So talk to us about your other branch of study, because I feel like that connects much more directly with crypto.
Yeah.
What are you learning in school that you're able to apply at work here, and what are you learning at work that you're able to apply at school?
Yeah. So I'm a finance minor, and I'm really learning kind of the basics, the fundamentals of finance, of business. So I took macroeconomics, microeconomics, accounting. I'm in finance right now. I'm enrolled to take financial analysis and valuation next semester. So there's major overlap, especially like when you learn how to value companies, learn why how and why companies profitable, when you learn how to read its balance sheet, its income statements, its cash flows. And that is very similar to crypto. But what I have noticed is it is harder to value crypto projects because there's not steady revenue, there's not an income statement, there's not balance sheets that you can look at to really value, okay, well, they have this much in assets, this much in liabilities, there's an actual company. No, you're valuing the future potential you see in the project. There's not numbers you can look at or equations you can put in these numbers to figure out what the real value it is. It's really what people will pay for the coin. So it's like, why is Cardano the third most valuable market cap when they just added the functionality of smart contracts? Well, in essence, they're like a pre-revenue company. They
Mhm.
have this great idea, but they don't have the product out there yet, and that's what's valuable. So it's interesting.
How often does crypto come up in your finance classes?
I would say nearly never. I mean, the only time it really comes up is when I bring it up. I'm like, hey, well, what about Bitcoin? What about how does this relate? So yeah, I mean, because there are professors who have studied their whole lives in the legacy markets on stocks and bonds. So crypto is so new that like they weren't in school in 2009, 2011 when Bitcoin was created and when Bitcoin really started taking off.
Mhm.
So they didn't learn that. I mean, everything that they know is what they've seen from the news or probably the white papers that they've read if they're into crypto. But it is actually one interesting thing is that here at USC, we also have a blockchain minor with blockchain courses. And there is a professor who's the head of the blockchain project. So I'm sure he knows a lot more. And obviously those discussions are all about how blockchain functionality works, how to code blockchain, and kind of the crypto space.
I want to ask you a philosophically pointed crypto question.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think it means? What is the rhetoric of the fact that we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I think it's for me, like, okay, this is, well, one, I think it's just kind of cool. Like it's mysterious that we don't
Mhm.
know who this person, this group, this entity is that created arguably the new internet, arguably one of the biggest innovations of the past 50 years, past 30 years.
Mhm.
It's like, it's very like, I love sci-fi, and it feels very sci-fi kind of in this alternate reality where there's this unknown mysterious person who created cryptocurrency, who created this. So that's what so one, I just find it fascinating. But two, I mean, I think at first it took away some credibility from cryptocurrencies. And I think that's similar to how like people who don't know about crypto, they just think all it is some anonymous transaction, anonymous payment method for drug dealers and all these criminals to send money without getting caught. And I don't think that the first cryptocurrency and the founder of the first cryptocurrency being anonymous helps that whatsoever.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The fact that we don't know who it is, who's behind this thing, means that there's no baggage associated with it, whether it's some foreign government or like some secret, like maybe the CIA created it. The fact that we don't know where it comes from means that we can use it for whatever we want to use it for,
Yeah.
um, which is pretty cool. Which is pretty cool. At any rate, I can't help but wonder about the kind of thing like who is Satoshi for real.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm sure we can spend 10 hours minimum pondering and shooting back and forth ideas on who the hell that is.
Yeah, yeah. Hey guys, this podcast exists for you. So that means we want to hear from you. If you have ideas on what we could be doing differently, what we could be doing better, anything that you want included in the future, you got to let us know. Otherwise, we're going to keep keep doing it our way. So probably one of the best ways to do that, you can tweet at me. So find me on Twitter, Dylan Love, DYLANLOVE, and tell me what you think without giving me any middle finger emojis. And we'll be really happy to incorporate constructive feedback. I don't know. We've got a couple really exciting partnerships coming up. We think this podcast is going to be really big and really interesting in the future. We want to make sure that we're doing right by our audience. So we really genuinely do want to hear from you. Find me on Twitter, Dylan Love, and let us know what we can do differently or better.
Yeah. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can also leave a comment with feedback. We love to hear your constructive criticism on what we're doing good and what we're doing not so good, and what you'd like to see included in future episodes.
Yeah. Bottom line is we are here to be whatever strong resource you need in crypto. But if you need an even stronger resource, we can only recommend getting a Token Metrics subscription.
Yeah, definitely.
Jacob, what else do we need to know about you? When you're not doing Token Metrics, when you're not being a student, what else are you doing? Do you have any hobbies worth mentioning right now?
Yeah, so I love astronomy, and I think that's similar to my philosophy, existentialist ideas of pondering what happens in our universe, where we came from, who Satoshi Nakamoto is, etc. So I love astronomy. I also like photography, so I do enjoy doing star photography. It is kind of hard to do it here in Los Angeles with light pollution, but sometimes I do go down to Joshua Tree, set up my tripod and get amazing star photography, get like the images just have the whole Milky Way, arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the clouds in it. So that's really cool. Actually, right now, this is school, but I'm in a class called Life in the Universe, which is an astrobiology course. And where the whole class is just to learn about astronomy and learn about whether there's life existing outside of our planet.
Yeah, so you've definitely piqued my interest here, because I remember some news item, it must have been 15 or 20 years ago, where they found microbes on the moon, or was it Mars? I'm not exactly sure. They found microscopic life outside of planet Earth. No,
that it
hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay, so then I'm misremembering something.
Yeah. So I would love to say, yes, that's true, but no, that's what so it's there. I think it must have been, there was evidence that there were microbes. I mean, because Mars used to have liquid water on it. Saturn's moon Titan has an ocean under it that we think.
Yeah.
So those are perfect conditions for life to exist. But no, once there is life found outside of planet Earth, it will be every single news source. It'll be breaking news. It'll change. Because I mean, what we learned, I forgot who said this, but a very famous astronomer and mathematician said, it is very hard to prove 0 or 1, but once you prove 2, you can prove infinity. So it's very hard to prove that there's no life, or that we're the only life, we're one. But once we find one more life somewhere else, that's 2. That means we can have 3, 4, 5 to infinity.
Wow, tremendous, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Guys, it's a short podcast on this Friday edition, but we definitely got to say thanks, Jacob, for joining us, as he does most of the time anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
But welcome to your new part-time gig, and we're really happy to have you. Hope you stick around for a long time to come.
Of course, so happy to be here. Love Token Metrics.
Let's just remind the kind audience, we want your feedback.
Yep.
Twitter, Dylan Love, let me hear it, good or bad. Subscribe to YouTube, leave us a comment about what we could be doing better or differently.
Yeah, and we're on that note of subscribing. We're so close to 100,000. We want to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. So make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed.
Yep, tremendous. We're right on our way. Anyway, that'll do it for this Friday episode of Engine Room. We'll see you next week.